Good evening and welcome to AED 101, or Introduction to Agriculture Education. I will be your instructor, Mr. Brian Welch, and for today's class we're going to talk about the what. So, our objectives for today. We will first start with what is agriculture education, why is it important, and how is it different from other education. To start about the what is agriculture? Agriculture is the production of food and fiber. More or less, it'll be the food we eat and the clothes we wear. Now let's look at what is education. This should be something a little bit more simple. It is the teaching or giving of knowledge. So we all remember learning how to read or learning how to add 1 and 1. So we've covered what. Now let's look at why. Let's look at two different consumers. We have the informed consumer in purple, and we have the uninformed consumer in blue. If you're watching the news, let's say you see something about how McDonald's, the Great Golden Arches, have decided to start using this nasty pink slime as part of their hamburger. We have our uninformed consumer who gets mad and irate, while our informed consumer just gets curious. We have the uninformed consumer who's pretty much going to believe everything on the news, while our informed consumer is going to do a little bit of research. Through this research, our informed consumer is going to find out that this pink slime is actually from the shoulder and the tail end of an animal, which is the toughest and the fattest part of a beef carcass. Now, producers wanted a way to make sure that this muscle was both tender and didn't have as much fat. So they started this process where they heated the meat to 100 degrees, which separated the fat from the muscle. Ammonia hydroxide, which helped to kill off bacteria that was created from the heat. Now this is also used in lettuce to help it keep its crispness, and even in beer to help preserve it. So ultimately this pink slime is lean, finely textured beef, which is completely safe to eat. And this serves as the why we need to educate people about agriculture. Let's dive into the how agriculture education is different. Let's look at Kolb's method of education. We have the do process, the outcome process, the reflect process, and the develop a new game plan process. This is ultimately a cyclic thing that students will go through as they learn. For example, if we look at our Word 203 homework, we have those who will do, meaning that they're just going to jump right into the project without thinking about anything. We have those who will start at the outcome point, which means that they're going to be the ones to text their friends to see what they did on the project before they begin. We have the new game plan people. They're going to be the ones that have reflected on what happened last time they worked on a Word 203 assignment. And then we have those who reflect. More or less, they're going to be the ones who think critically and actually read the assignment. So let's put this into practice. I have 4 boxes. Whenever I draw dots in these boxes, it creates a number like the 3. This would be 6. This would be 2. What would 9 be? Okay. This right here would be 12. This right here would be 15. What would this number be? Simple 16. That would be 10, and ultimately, through the process of Kolb's method, you will see that if you put a dot in the first, it equals 1, in the second box it'll be a 5, the next box a 10, and the next a 50. Now through this process you did, meaning that you did the equation, you had an outcome, either you were right or you were wrong, and then you reflected why were you right or wrong. Then from there you developed a new game plan so that you could ultimately go back and do. With ag education, to see how it is different, we look at the individual student, combine them with an experience to ultimately equal success.